this evening here in a comfortable seat. And if you can't tell, I've adapted my yoga bolster into like a meditation cushion, or a place that's going to support me for these warm-ups. And I've just simply done that by placing a block underneath the back of that bolster. You're welcome to sit in a chair as well. If you're sitting in a chair, just be aware to not slouch. Instead, try and sit up on your sitting bones and maintain a tall, comfortable position. Just take a moment to really adjust make any adjustments you need to as you settle into that comfortable seat. If it feels good for you, you can close the eyes or just keep the eyes gently looking down, or just softly out into the distance beyond my video there. Just taking a time to turn our gaze inward for a moment. Without judgment or in-depth analysis, turn your conscious awareness to your breath and observe as your breath flows in and out. Take this time to center and ground your awareness on the breath. We're going to open our class with the sound of Om. And the reason why we chant Om at the beginning of class sometimes is to further deepen and attune our own mental, emotional, physical, and energetic, spiritual frequency into this yogic practice. So you're more than welcome to join me, or you can just simply listen as I chant the sound of Om. I'll just do it one time. I'm going to exhale completely, emptying the vessel. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Hold a moment. Observe that space in between the breath. And then when you're ready, breathe in deep. With your next breath in, keep the hands together and simply stretch the hands straight on up towards the ceiling until your biceps are right beside the ears. Now notice if the shoulders have gotten tense, just kind of shrug the shoulders back and down. Keep your hands right where they're at. I'm going to show you something with my hands. Also pay attention to what's going on with the abdomen. As you reach the hands up, maybe you begin to find that degree of back bend, but are you finding any compression in the lower back? If so, focus on that lower belly and draw that lower belly up and in. So you go from an unengaged core here to an engaged core here. And it's almost like you have a zipper and you're zipping up, lengthening through the waistline. All right, so the core is engaged, hands up and overhead. All right, and I want you just to bend at the elbows, and with your thumbs, see if you can just tap maybe your hair or the back of the head or the neck, and then re-extend the arms. All right, if we were using this as a weight-bearing exercise, this would be like a tricep extension. We're just kind of warming up the elbow joints, warming up the triceps, using a little mind-body coordination. You can coordinate this with breath. You can exhale and bend, and inhale, extend. Or you can switch that up and just find a breath pattern that feels good for you. We're going to do this 3 more times. Lengthening up out of the waistline, core engaged, and we're just going to extend the arms. 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in, open the hands up and overhead to about shoulder width. As you exhale, turn the palms away, press the palms all the way down towards the floor, and then inhale, hands sweep back up, shoulder width apart. Exhale, making these big sweeping arm circles, palms pressed firmly away. Exhale. Again, inhale, reset. Exhale, palms press away. Feel free to drop the head, neck, side to side. Your exhalation, inhale. Exhale. You do that 4 more times. Big breath in. Breath out once more. This time we're going to pause during that exhalation sequence. We're inhaling up. We're going to exhale, hands out into a T shape. All right, 2 times. We're going to look over right shoulder. Back through center, look over left shoulder. 1 more time over right shoulder. And then back over left shoulder. Go ahead and relax the hands down, head and neck back to center. Squeeze the hands and make fists. Shrug the shoulders up, take a deep breath in, and hold the breath in for at least 5 seconds. Count it to 5 in your mind. Exhale, relax the hands, and drop the shoulders down. We'll do that 4 more times. Big breath in, squeeze and hold. At least 5 seconds. Hold. When you're ready, exhale, release. Again, inhale. Squeeze the shoulders back together. Feel that broadness across the chest, and exhale, release. 2 more times, twice more. Big breath in, squeeze and hold. Exhale, release. Once more. Good. Feel the shoulders starting to relax. Just relax the hands on the knees or in the lap. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. Exhale. Inhale, tilt the chin up and away. Exhale, chin tucks in. Inhale, stretch the front of the neck as you tilt the chin. Exhale, reset. We'll do this 3 more times. Stay with your breath. One more. Inhale, stretch the front of the neck, tilt the chin up. And exhale, chin tucks in towards the chest. Good. One more for our neck and shoulder sequence. So this time I'm going to press my right hand away. I'm going to go ahead and look over my left shoulder. Now I'm going to start to drop my left ear to the left shoulder. All right, I'm just going to tuck and tilt the chin. I'm going to just explore little movements. I can start to lengthen this space between the rotator cuff, the neck, shoulder, all those different muscles that tie into the shoulder complex. If you want to, with your left hand, you can even kind of just start to walk your fingertips up and down the base of the neck. His right hand also simultaneously can start to circle and press away. One more full breath in on this side. As you exhale, relax the hands, bring the head and neck back to center. And then when you're ready, we'll repeat on the other side. Hand presses away. I'm going to go ahead and look over my right shoulder here. I'm going to drop ear to shoulder. Optionally, you can start to circle that hand. Right hand can come up and start to kind of just viscerally lengthen the muscles by just kneading the fingertips. You're just kind of like an inchworm rolling the fingertips across those muscles, the neck, and the shoulder. You can use an extended exhalation out the mouth to help kind of release any stored tension or stress. And you can also pair this with the Ujjayi breath technique, the breath of victory. If you're not familiar with Ujjayi, we'll cover that maybe a little later. Now you can just practice that extended exhalation out the mouth. More deep breath in. As you exhale, relax both hands, bring head and neck back to center. Let's just go ahead and roll the shoulders out. Last couple times, pull the shoulders back and down together. We're going to make our way into a child's pose next. And I'm going to demonstrate it just like this, but if you were in a chair, I'll show you what that will look like too in just a moment. So most of us are familiar with child's pose. If you are propped up on a bolster or cushion, you can simply extend your hands forward and just start to lower the chest towards the floor, lengthening out of the lower back, resting the forehead on the mat. You can have the toes tucked or untucked. It'll change the way you feel that stretch in the feet. And if you are practicing from a chair, your child's pose might just look something like this. Fingertips on the floor, arms in between the legs, holding forward. If you have a yoga block, you can kind of gently ease into the stretch. You can even use the seat of that chair or the legs to hold on to, and just kind of start to let your torso reach forward. But keep your sitting bones planted in that chair. Don't lean too far forward. Try and keep your sitting bones anchored back and down. If you are in a chair, you might want to come up a little bit sooner. So you can always just come back up into that seated meditation position. If you're on the floor, we're going to just add in a quick side body stretch. All right. So I'm going to start by walking my hands over to the right, and I'm going to pull the body weight back towards my left hip. Let me show you from the side here. Okay. So I'm in my child's pose. I'm going to walk my hands far over to one side and then draw the body weight back towards opposite hip. So you get this nice stretch through the side body. You can just switch back and forth a few times at your own pace. If you are practicing from a chair, you could maybe work in a gentle seated twist. You could reach to one side and then the opposite side. And you could join us that way from a chair. Go ahead and make 2 or 3 more touches on each side. All right. So I'm going to make my way back onto my mat, and we're actually going to lay on our bellies for a quick back bend sequence. Back bends are really great, especially for the shoulders, at least the ones we'll do here in a moment. They're also a little more energizing. So if you're ever kind of just feeling like you're in a slump or you just kind of need an energy boost, then this is a really nice sequence for you. I'm going to do this from the side so you can really kind of gain perspective on my side profile and also the back bend shapes that I'm making. So when you're ready, go ahead and come down onto your mat. If you're practicing from a chair, I'll get to you in just a second, okay? So we're gonna come back down here, all right? I'm just gonna lay with my cheek turned to one side. I'm just gonna pick up the arms resting along the side body. I'm gonna take just a minute to rest here. 15 or 20 seconds on each side, actually. So just take a moment, one cheek turned to the floor, and rest here. If you listen carefully, you might feel your heart beating. And pay special attention to your breath. And when you're ready, the next breath, just simply turn the head and neck over to the other side. Just bring your opposite cheek to the floor. We're going to make our way into our first back bend. We're going to come into Bhujangasana, the Cobra pose. So I'm going to start by bringing my hands up just underneath the front of the shoulders here. All right, elbows are going to stay close to the side body. All right, now there's going to be a couple different levels for our Cobra pose. All right, option one, just a baby Cobra right here. And you can look over both shoulders, continuing to stretch the head and neck. All right. You might also prefer a Sphinx pose. We're going to come back to these. We're going to do a couple repetitions of these back bends. Sphinx pose, you can slide the hands forward until the elbows tuck underneath of the front of the shoulders. And you can have the toes tucked under or untucked. Doesn't really matter so much. If you feel any compression in your lower back, a couple of things you can do to address that. You can actually widen your legs here. You can actually just scoot your legs a little wider and then press your pelvis down. And you can see if that starts to take some of the pressure out of your lower back. And if it doesn't and you need to come back to child's pose, please feel free. Okay, so we're either in Cobra or Sphinx. So I'm going to reset to Cobra pose. I'm just going to begin to stretch the front of the body, shoulder blades drawing back and down together. And I'm only using about 5 or 10% help from my hands to help maintain this position. Turning conscious awareness to the breath. Bring your awareness back between the shoulder blades. Pull the shoulder blades together. You can stay here for a few more breaths. If you're still practicing in a chair, all right, you can come into a very similar back bend shape by just having your hands on your knees and just sitting up tall, drawing the shoulder blades together. If you want to, you can even have the hands here in front of the shoulders. And you can see that if you imagine I'm sitting in a chair, I'm still practicing a very similar back bend shape. All right, so we've got 3 more breaths in our Cobra right here. If you want to use a little more help from the hands, you can deepen that back bend by pressing the floor down. Find a little snap, crackle, pop there. Keep pressing the hips into the floor as you stretch the front of the body long. One more breath in. And exhale. Let's take a little break. Let's press it back for a quick child's pose. And then when you're ready, forward back into that Advasana, that resting lying down, that face down position, Advasana. Okay, so our next back bend, we're actually going to work through Sphinx, and we're going to do some Sphinx roll-ups. Okay, so for those of you who have practiced in class, you probably remember these. They don't really look too flashy, but you can get a lot of work done, and you can kind of break a sweat just doing these. So I'll demonstrate. It's a pretty subtle movement, and it's a lot of subtle core engagement. So I'm going to come back to Sphinx pose to start. All right, so we're in our gentle back bend Sphinx pose. And doing this from a chair or standing is a little different. It looks a little funny, but you can do it, and I'll show you that again in a few minutes. So I'm in Sphinx. I'm going to take a deep breath in and lift the center of my chest. And then as you exhale, you can tuck the chin in. And I'm just going to practice lifting my lower belly up off the floor, and then lifting the hips, lifting the thighs, and I'm really drawing my lower belly up and in. Squeeze like I was wringing out a rag. I'm really squeezing that point just below the belly button up towards like the center of my chest. And then as I inhale, I'm going to lower my thighs, hips, and lower belly and lift the chest. And I can already feel like my body temperature is raised half a degree from that one. You can probably feel yourself getting a little warmer already. You can inhale, lift the chest, reset, and exhale. We're going to do this for about the next minute or so. Exhaling, lift belly, hips, and thighs, squeeze, and then inhale, release. Good. Okay. So if you're still up in a chair and you want to kind of follow along with this core strengthening exercise, it's going to be a little bit different, but you're really just going to focus on almost like the same action as like a crunch. It's going to be a little different, okay? So you're going to inhale here, and then you're going to exhale really slow, really strong. Just begin to crunch in and really focus on that lower belly pulling up and in. As you tighten the core, exhale, 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 and then inhale back up. Exhale, keep the core tight and engaged, and inhale back. But all together, we've got about 30 seconds. Keep it good. If you're in that Sphinx pose, make sure you're pressing down firmly through your palms and your fingertips, so you don't have any undue pressure in any of the other joints. You're really equally distributing your body's weight all the way through each fingertip. Let's do 3 more together. Last one, we're going to hold for a little longer. Exhale, squeeze, hold in that exhale position. Keep sucking that lower belly up and in, lengthen through the torso. Keep pressing the floor away if you're in Sphinx. You can breathe in, let your breath return to normal, but just hold here. 10 more seconds. Inhale here. Slowly lower the thighs, hips and belly. Exhale, lower the hands back along the side body. Bring your cheek back to the floor. You can bring a little bend in the knees and just windshield wiper the legs side to side. We're gonna move into one more part of our back bending series. I'm gonna kind of throw a few different options your way, and in about like 45 seconds to a minute, we'll all practice together. If you want to kind of practice each option as I go through, you're absolutely more than welcome to. So for our final back bending pose, or series of poses, depending on how you use this little bit of time, here's what I got for you. So option one, if you do have a yoga block or like a little like a medicine ball or some kind of exercise equipment that you want to use, now would be a great time to grab that. If you don't have it, don't worry, you don't necessarily need it. It will help to keep the shoulders in line. So we're going to move into like a Superman pose, or like a full locust pose. So I'm going to start by lifting one leg and then both legs, and I'm squeezing the glutes and lifting both feet, both knees and both thighs off the floor. Now I can increase the challenge, the level of challenge, by grabbing that block or prop, squeezing it between the hands, and then gently lifting the hands up to eye level. Shoulder blades retract, elbows in tight, and you can hold here. Option one. All right, option two, you can bring the arms back by the side. You can keep the legs down and come back to cobra pose. All right. Let me show you this from a standing position if you're using your chair. Okay, I'm gonna flip my chair around here. I'm gonna flip my chair around. I'm just gonna come into like a little back bend by kind of extending. Let's see if I can do it over here. So I'm just gonna extend one leg behind, really deepen that back stretch. Other leg behind. You can do your back bend right here. You can even interlace the hands and just pull the knuckles back and down, deepening your back. All right, so you've got a few options. Lastly, if you want to really focus on that really deep back bend, you come into bow pose. This will be the final one I demonstrate, and then we'll just take like 30 seconds to put it all together in practice. So bow pose, you're gonna have to use all that same core engagement we just used in our Sphinx roll-ups, those crunches we just did. Really important to protect the lower back. So remember to keep drawing that lower belly up and in, and you can just kind of see in my body language, my core is unengaged and my core is engaged. You can kind of see how that changes things. So bow pose. For bow pose, I'm going to come back to Vasana. I'm going to bring a deep bend in both legs. I'm going to reach back to grab a hold of the inside edges of the feet. All right. And when I'm ready, I'm going to start to press the feet away from the hands and start to create that bow shape with the back. Trying to keep the knees in line with the hips as I press the feet away. You've got a few different options here to play with. Your Superman full locust pose. You have the single leg half locust. And you've got some standing variations. So why don't you go ahead and take a little time and practice that now. And then when you're finished with your back bend, go ahead and just come back to child's pose. You just give yourself about 5 rounds of breath in child's pose. Meeting back in child's pose. Enjoy 1 or 2 more rounds of breath in your child's pose. When you're ready, we're going to come into downward facing dog. And down dog is relatively easy to come into from child's pose. Again, I'll show you from like a side view here. All right, so from my child's pose, all I really have to do is shift the body weight forward. All right, so that, and I'll show you again from the chair in just a second. I'm going to shift the body weight forward so that the hands stack right underneath the shoulders, toes are tucked under. I'm going to lift the knees, and then I'm just going to kind of start to play with pushing the weight back and then shifting the weight forward. I notice that when I come into plank, I have to move my hands so they stay right underneath the shoulders. You can see the problem with trying to come into down dog with the hands too far forward. It puts a lot of stress on the shoulders. So it's just a little easier on the joints if you kind of stack wrists under elbows, under shoulders. We'll shift from plank back to down dog. You can go ahead and play with that and start to feel the hamstring stretch and the hip flexors stretch. All right. So if you're not already there, you can grab your chair, grab hold of the legs of the chair and come into this L pose shape, or you can put your hands on the seat and you can find your down dog right here, L pose, using the chair. And you can even shift the body weight forward and then draw the hips back. You can keep a little bend in the knees if the hamstrings feel tight to kind of help with that release in the hamstrings. Good. So if you're playing with that down dog sequence still, go ahead and come into a split dog by reaching one leg up high behind. And that other leg. One more time each side. When you're ready, go ahead and walk the feet up in between the hands and come into a standing forward fold on your mat. You can keep a little bend in the knees. Give the head and neck a really good shake side to side. And then when you're ready, inhale up halfway, hands to shins, knees, or thighs. Pull those shoulder blades back together, tilt the tailbone away. This is our inhale position, so we can exhale and release. We'll do that twice more. Inhale up halfway. And exhale, release. One more time. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Lead with the heart. And release. So when you're ready, come all the way back to standing. Hands come up last. And exhale, hands touch in front of the chest. Let's go ahead and shake it out. Shake everything out. Really good. All right. So we're going to move through just a couple of standing poses here. So when you're ready, come on back up to standing. Do a quick time check here to see where we're at. Okay, we're doing great. Okay. All right, so we're going to come on back up to standing. All right, we'll just start with some hip circles. I know we've gotten a recommendation take a little bit of time to work on the hips. As simple as this is one of the best activities for our hips and lower back. Just making some hip circles. Let's go ahead and make 4 more in this direction, then we'll switch. All right, and when you're ready, go ahead and bring those hips back, front and center. Pause, and simply reverse the direction. You can invite in a little back bend and a little hinge forward if you wish. And we'll do about 4 more on this. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and come back to center. Arms out to the side, we're in star pose. Okay, arms extended long, legs straightened. And we're just gonna slowly begin to twist over to our left. And we're gonna come into this reversed archer position. So I'm gonna bring my right hand back. I'm gonna turn head and neck. I'm taking this deep twist from my belly button up. Let me show you from this angle here. So I've twisted all the way over to the left as far as I can go. And then I'm bringing that right hand in like I'm fletching an arrow to my bowstring. And I'm gonna slowly pull back. And when that right arm extends all the way, I'm gonna exhale and switch over to the other side. Inhaling, drawing the bowstring back. Exhaling, releasing, and reversing to the other side. Good. Angle. One more each side. Go ahead and slowly lower the hands, come back to center, and just shake out the hands, wrists, arms, and shoulders. All right, another activity we're going to practice for our hip flexors, which are these muscles right in front of our legs here, kind of like if you're wearing a pair of jeans, get right in front of where your belt loops are on your jeans. So also this is going to help with our balance. If you have a chair or if you're close to a wall and you want to use that supportive surface, please feel free. So I'm going to plant my left foot down first. I'm going to lift my right knee up. And we're just going to do this 10 times on each side. I'm going to slowly lower. I'm going to try and keep my hips level. And then I'm going to lift that right knee back up, right to just about hip height. Slowly down, 2, slowly up, 3. Let's do that 7 more times. And if you want to use your chair to hold on to while you work that, you can definitely lift and lower using a chair to steady yourself. Let's do one more. And we'll go ahead and switch. So I'm going to place my right foot down, and I'm going to lift my left knee up this time. We'll do it 10 times. Lifting, lower, lifting, lower, lower. Just a few more. Let's do 3 more together. Left in, lower. Good. One more time, lift and hold, and slowly lower that foot down. Good job. Kind of just march it out, shake out the hands, shake out the arms. All right. So working on our balance a little more and also starting to work on opening those hips up. We're going to come into our classic tree pose. Now, if you do have a yoga block or something you can use to assist you, you can grab that now. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place that block right on the inside edge of my left foot. And my very first, most preliminary version of tree, I'm going to work on just this right here. I'm going to lift that right leg like we just practiced. And open that out to the side. I'm going to rest my toes, my palm out of the foot, on that block. I'm going to go right heel to left calf. All right, and I'm going to re-square the hips, kind of press that foot into the calf, and then I'm going to start to lengthen up out of the waistline and come to my tree here. Continue to build on this movement by choosing to not use your block. You can lift and you can actually bring the foot just below the knee. So heel below the knee and have your foot against the calf. Just be like your level 2. You want to continue working on your balance. And each one kind of has different energetic qualities. You feel like you just kind of need sort of that moment of like fearless challenge, or you want to have a big energy boost. You bring your foot all the way up to the thigh. Press foot to the thigh. Might not go right for you. You might try to have the foot here on the calf or kickstand it back.
Bryan, excuse me, your sound just got a little bit like you're far away or in a tunnel. I don't know if there's an adjustment on your device.
Can you hear me okay now?
Now it's back. Test one more time.
Okay, testing.
Perfect. Thank you. That fixed it.
Okay. All right, so we're back in our tree pose here. Thanks, Buff. I appreciate that. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. And we might have already said this, but if at any time during our virtual class, if you have a question, feel free to kind of scurry over your keyboard and type your question, and Buff can relay that to me. So take a moment to kind of refocus and balance your tree there. And just balance and rest here for about 3 to 5 more breaths. Helps if you steady your eyes and rest your eyes on something that's not moving. Something that's not me. Last breath in, expand, grow the branches of your tree, lift that right knee, and gracefully set the right foot down, lower the hands. Again, shake it out to reset. Do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I'll kind of start with that first option. Right foot down, left foot's just going to kickstand up on that block. Right, hips level, lengthening up out of the waistline. I can hold right here. You want to move up to a slightly more energetic expression of tree. Again, you can always use that chair to help steady yourself. You can come here with the heel below the knee. So here's my knee joint, okay, and this heel is just below. We don't want to press into the knee joint. And lastly, if you want to continue to build your tree, you can bring the foot up to the thigh, and you can press foot into thigh here. You want to increase that balance challenge, but also increase your internal focus. You can simply close the eyes. Have something hold on to nearby. 3 more breaths in truth. The last breath in, expand the arms long, inhaling. Lift that left knee up, and exhale as gracefully as you can. Lower the foot, lower the hands, and last time, go ahead and shake it out. So we're going to go ahead and come back down onto our mat for some hip stretches, and kind of hopefully we'll have a big hip release. If you can't lie down on your back, let me just show you a couple of hip stretches from a chair while I have it close by you. So you can also practice this from your desk at work, or anytime you have a chair, you want to just kind of pop into a couple of stretches. So we're going to do just a couple of mobility exercises. And if you want to lean back into your chair a little here, that's okay. Just try not to roll onto, maybe you'll understand if I could show you from here. So it's okay if you want to kind of just lean back. Just be careful that you're not rolling onto your lower back. That's the main difference. Okay. So from your seat, you can simply hug one knee into the chest and just kind of start to work here. And if you want to come onto your back and get started, you can hug both knees into the chest. I'll meet you there in just a minute. Start just kind of rolling out each hip. You can very well do this from a chair on both sides. Make your best effort. Moving that in both directions. Right. This is kind of just an overview, and you can follow along when I get back to the mat. All right, so if you are on the mat, you can just hug the knees into the chest and take a quick rock. Your big stretch from your chair for your hips will be your seated pigeon pose. And to come into that seated pigeon pose, you're going to cross one leg over, and I'm going to keep the foot flexed. All right, keeping the foot flexed is going to keep my knee in place here. Okay, so both hips down. I'm going to hold onto the chair. I'm going to just slowly hinge forward any amount. Let me show you this from another angle. So I'm here on the edge of my chair. Cross the leg over, and I'm just going to gently lean forward. You should get a really big stretch down through that glute medius and some of those muscles that tie into the hip there. This is your seated pigeon stretch. You can practice that on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to the mat here. All right. I'm hugging the knees into the chest, taking a little rock side to side. You might have already moved into kind of doing some leg circles on each side. If not, just take a minute to circle the leg in both directions on each side. Right? If you hadn't already, go ahead and switch. Make sure you get both sides there. A few of those hip circles in each direction. Now I'm going to start by planting my left foot down. And just like I demonstrated for the seated pigeon in the chair, we're going to come into a lying down pigeon here. We're a little bit different than the one that we might have practiced before. So I'm going to make that same like figure 4 shape with the legs. I'm crossing just above my left knee with my right ankle, or like the bottom part of my right shin. All right, so I've got this figure 4 shape with the legs. All right, keep the foot flexed, and you might already feel a stretch here. If you want to take it a step further, you can go ahead and just reach to grab a hold of the back of that left leg, and you can start to hug the left knee in. Now, at least for me, I instantaneously feel a big stretch there in my right glute and hip. You can also kind of just gently play with the angle of your stretch. So you can just very slowly and mindfully, because you don't want to do anything too quickly here, just kind of ease the hips side to side and see if you can't find your ideal angle for your stretch. So as we continue to hug this left knee in, I'm hugging my left knee back towards the chest. I'm continuing using the muscular engagement of this right leg to press the right knee away. So there's kind of like a push and pull motion going on here. And stay here for 4 more deep breaths. And after that last exhalation, you can lower the left foot down, gently uncross the leg, and just windshield wiper your knees side to side. Okay. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time I'm going to go ahead and cross over my left leg over right, so the bottom part of that left shin right over top of the right knee. Left foot stays flexed. And again, you might just want to stay right here for this one, or you might want to reach and begin to hug that right knee in towards the chest. Play with the angle at which you want to work your stretch. You might like to drop the hips over to the right or slightly over to the left. Another version of the same stretch. I'm sorry I didn't show this on the other side. But if you do want to, you can even keep that right leg extended, and you could just kind of begin to hug this left leg in towards the chest like this as well. And you're going to get that same stretch down through here in the glute and hip. Kind of like the structural security of using that right leg as like a leverage point, feel free to stay with that, that first variation I showed you. You can stay here for another 3 or 4 breaths. Ready, slowly release that right leg down, gently uncross the legs. With both feet planted, just windshield wiper the legs side to side, knees dropping right to left and left to right.
Brian, just a little time check here. It's 7:25.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to transition into our last 5 minutes of deep relaxation and a couple of places you could rest. If you want to kind of work on resetting the lower back, you can go ahead and just step your feet about as wide apart as your mat and let the knees stack in towards each other. And this position is really restorative for your lower vertebrae, including your SI joint. So if you have any kind of lower back stuff going on, this is a really awesome place to rest. If you're feeling kind of like tight or constricted in the groin or hips or that inner thigh area, You can bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out to the side. If you do have those yoga blocks, I also recommend grabbing those blocks and placing them underneath of the knees. Those. One last restorative position I'll show you if you do have blocks. This is something you can practice in your own time. Is coming into this restorative fish pose shape. So I'm going to bring one block just underneath the shoulder blades. See if you can kind of see that there. So that's about where I'm going to come onto that block. And I'm just going to lean back until I feel my head and neck supported by that second block just beneath the head. And this is really great for helping to unround the shoulders. It's a beautiful restorative heart opening position. So this is a really nice place you can rest as well. Just take a moment and come into that final resting position. Give us just a couple minutes of silence to rest. And then I'll just close with a brief reading. While you're resting here, you can use a mantra or positive affirmation to center your awareness on. Powerful but simple mantras and affirmations that you can take with you, weave into your daily existence. You could practice chanting the sound of Om or Om Shanti. Shanti means peace in Sanskrit. It's the vibration of peace itself. You could also just simply remind yourself that all is well. Practicing that affirmation, all is well, you open your heart to surrender to a power greater than yourself. All is well. Are we on? So to close, I have just a few sentences from Pearls of Wisdom by Swami Satchidananda. And the passage is titled, "The Essence is the Same." Love everyone and everything equally. By loving everything, you're really loving yourself. Because after all, everything is nothing but the expression of ourselves. Real love is possible only when we see everything as our own expression. When we go beyond the names and the forms and the outward appearances, we find that at the essence, we are all the same. We all are loved. If you'd like to join me as we close, you can come back to the seated position or just bring your hands to rest in front of your chest in your restorative position. That's totally good. And we'll just close with 3 deep breaths together, and I'll close again with the sound of them. When you're ready, you'll exhale completely. And then inhale, and just receive that vital energy with the in. Exhale. Centering, reclaiming your inner peace. Inhale, reconnecting with love. Inhale, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. There you go with peace. We close our practice with Namaste. 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 Thank you again also very much. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much, Buff, and in extension to Eldersburg Library for hosting us. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on Facebook. My name is Bryan Nupp, Bryan. Last name Nupp. Thank you again so much. Namaste. You have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Namaste, Bryan. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.